Hi, welcome to Insights in Minutes. Picture this: your developers are running Claude Code on their laptops, your strategy team is using Claude AI for planning, and engineers have MCP integrations hooked up to internal systems. But does IT actually know what Claude can access, or whether those accounts are managed or personal?
That's the scary part. We tend to trust Anthropic's infrastructure, but enterprise risk isn't just about platform security anymore. Today, we'll unpack how Claude AI gets inside workflows, where its vulnerabilities really show up, and what you can do to lock things down.
We're covering the real life attack surfaces, what Anthropic secures versus what's your responsibility, best practices for teams, and why tools like CloudEagle.ai matter for governance and spend tracking.
If you're wondering whether Claude is safe for enterprise, stick around. We'll break down prompt injection, credential theft, agentic AI attacks, and leave you with a quick decision framework. Let's dive in.
Let's start with how Claude actually lives inside your enterprise. It's not just one product, there's Claude AI, Claude Code, and API integrations. Each brings its own set of risks.
Exactly. Take Claude AI, the browser-based interface. If you enable integrations, it can access Google Drive, local files, and more. Every integration is an entry point for attackers if compromised. Then there's Claude Code, which runs locally and can execute shell commands or interact with APIs.
What about API integrations? Those connect Claude to internal systems, knowledge bases, and third-party services. The security posture depends entirely on which scopes you grant and what data those systems hold.
Funny enough, most IT teams don't truly track all these contexts. Managed accounts, personal accounts, unsanctioned devices, every deployment has its own perimeter. That's why blanket bans don't work. You need granular governance.
So, what does Anthropic actually secure? They've got AES 256 encryption, TLS 1.3, SOC 2 Type 2, and ISO 27001 certifications. Plus, enterprise customer data isn't used for model training by default, and there's always incident response and bug bounty programs.
Those are robust platform protections. But the real issue is what your team does with Claude, what data gets pasted into prompts, which MCP servers are connected, and whether API keys are personal or shared. Claude AI accounts can be managed or totally ad hoc, which creates governance headaches.
And provisioning, reviewing, or revoking access as teams change? That's on your IT. If you don't treat Claude like a privileged access tool, you'll miss the risks.
I've seen teams lose track of who actually has access to sensitive repositories through Claude Code. It's like giving admin privileges to an invisible user. Governance gaps crop up fast.
Let's talk about vulnerabilities. The Claude Day incident in March 2026 really woke people up. Prompt injection let attackers silently exfiltrate sensitive data through hidden HTML in Claude URLs, all from a default session. No integrations, no extra tools needed.
And that wasn't all. CVE 202559536 exposed how malicious config files in Claude Code could execute arbitrary shell commands, auto-enable MCP servers, and steal API keys. One repo could compromise an entire developer fleet.
Then came GTG 1002, the threat actor who orchestrated AI-powered cyber attacks using coordinated Claude instances. Minimal human involvement, real intrusions, and bypasses of safety controls.
These aren't hypothetical risks. Prompt channels, config files, agentic AI Claude can become an active threat vector if you're not careful. It's time to treat AI as a frontline security concern.
So what can teams actually do? First, enforce least privilege. Never let Claude Code run in directories with production secrets. Use separate API keys for each developer and rotate them regularly.
You also need to audit every MCP server and third-party integration. Always review config files like mcp.json before opening a cloned repo in Claude Code, and never let untrusted sources get access.
Apply DLP controls, define what data can't go into Claude prompts, scan content before submission, and train employees with industry-specific examples.
And treat Claude Code like a privileged user. Require IT approval, restrict access to production environments, and apply the same controls you use for shell access. Plus, log everything and set up a human review loop for agentic tasks.
Don't forget acceptable use policies. Specify prohibited data types, define approved account tiers, and make sure employees acknowledge these rules as part of onboarding. Native controls from Anthropic and Microsoft are a start, but they don't catch shadow AI personal Claude accounts, unsanctioned Claude Code installs, and disconnected activity outside managed environments.
CloudEagle.ai steps in by discovering every AI tool across your environment. It finds personal accounts, tracks unsanctioned installations, and flags anomalous usage using SSO, browser activity, and financial signals.
For access governance, CloudEagle provisions Claude based on role and need, reviews access to prevent creep, and instantly revokes permissions when employees leave. It treats Claude like part of your broader SaaS lifecycle governance.
Spend visibility is huge, too. CloudEagle tracks API usage, attributes costs, and flags spikes that might signal a compromised API key. Plus, compliance mapping ensures your Claude usage stays within GDPR, HIPAA, SOC 2, and EU AI Act boundaries.
Let's wrap with a quick decision framework. Claude AI is generally safe for low-stakes use, thanks to constitutional AI safeguards. But when you enable features like Claude Code or computer use, risks jump if local files or commands aren't controlled.
So ask yourself, are all Claude accounts tied to corporate SSO? Do you have an inventory of every MCP server? Are API keys rotated regularly and mapped to compliance scopes like SOC2 and GDPR? Is audit logging enabled and flowing into your SIEM?
If any answer is no, it's probably time to layer governance tools like CloudEagle.ai on top of Anthropic's native controls. And always establish a human review checkpoint for agentic workflows.
AI governance isn't optional anymore. It's the foundation for safe innovation and the difference between managed risk and open chaos.
Let's recap the big points. First, Claude is everywhere in modern workflows, and every deployment context comes with its own risk. Second, Anthropic secures the infrastructure, but your team is responsible for data, access, and governance. Third, vulnerabilities like prompt injection and agentic attacks are real. Treating Claude like a privileged user is vital.
You also need visibility. CloudEagle.ai helps track shadow AI, manage access, and map compliance. And one practical step, audit all Claude accounts and integrations this week. Build out least privilege controls and log everything.
Don't wait for an incident. Take charge of Claude governance now and treat AI as a core part of your enterprise security strategy.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow for more deep dives on AI, security, and enterprise governance. See you next time.